there, this is Matt. Before we get into this episode, I just wanted to quickly tell you about its sponsor, Coco Homestay. Coco Homestay is where I like to stay whenever I visit Vung Tau. Located in an awesome spot right opposite Pineapple Beach between Front Beach and Back Beach, Coco Homestay has just 7 rooms, some of them self-contained and some of them with some of the best ocean views in town, ranging in price from 1 million Vietnam dong to 1.7 million per night on weekdays and going up to 2.1 million at weekends, depending on room and season. If you're a solo traveller, travelling with your partner or travelling with kids, Coco Homestay might just be the best place for you for a short break in one of my favourite beachside towns in Vietnam. And here's a tip. Ask for room 601 if it's just you and your partner, or room 201 for the kids, which has a great set of bunks and a balcony so you can catch those magical sunset views across the water. So don't forget Coco Homestay, right opposite Pineapple Beach between Front Beach and Back Beach on Ha Long Street, close to everything in town. Check it out on your favourite travel booking platform or visit their Facebook page, Homestay Hotel Coco 66 Ha Long. Happy holidays! Hello and welcome to the Bureau Asia podcast. I'm Matt Cowan, the Bureau Chief and your host. Thank you for listening in on this Reunification Day weekend in Vietnam. Last episode, we had a laugh at the expense of an Australian travel publication that boldly published an article listing 6 things Vietnam does better than Australia. We had a laugh putting together our tongue-in-cheek list that took a dig at life here in Vietnam. Did we offend anyone with it? I hope not. After all, it was all in the name of fun, and it was an exercise in encouraging us to dig into the depths of our reservoir of knowledge about the country we've called home for more than a decade. After that, however, things toned down when I interviewed the founder of Hanoi-based NGO Blue Dragon Children's Foundation, Michael Brzozowski, who told us there are tens of thousands of Vietnamese living in slavery in Southeast Asia and what he and his foundation are doing about it, which is a lot, by the way. It's a must listen for anyone with an interest in a reality of Vietnam that's rarely documented in depth on social media, and for anyone, for that matter, who cares about humanity. The episode has been well received, reaching number 14 on the Vietnam Apple Podcasts places and travel charts this week, which tells me there's a thirst for stories like this, and we'll continue to do our best to bring them to you. Overall, the Bureau Asia podcast topped out at number 30 this week of all podcasts in Vietnam related to places and travel. Something to be proud of, and that keeps us motivated to put more episodes out. But this can only be done with the support of you. So all I ask is that you share our episodes via your social media networks. It costs nothing and it's just a click or two to get it done. We're super keen to have our podcast reach distant shores, so every little share and bump helps. Okay, so on with this episode. Well, this week when I was pondering how the hell we're going to fill this segment with anything remotely interesting, I noticed that a lot of news items that caught my eye were a bunch of lists. You know, the best this and the oldest that and so on. So in the first half of this episode, we're going to go through, well, a list of the lists that were listed. Okay, that's enough. In this week's news related to Ho Chi Minh City and Vietnam. After that, we give you what you've all been waiting for, a warts and all review of Netflix's latest blockbuster that was filmed right here in Vietnam, A Tourist's Guide to Love. You'll get to hear what we really thought about the flick that actually copped quite a pasting here in Vietnam on social media this week. So we'll chat a little bit about that and find out what our resident movie buff Mal has to say about it. Speaking of which, sitting across from me with a fistful of lists and a glow that screams holiday mode is the Bureau Asia's content manager, Melanie Kasul. How are you, Mel?
Hello, I'm good. Happy Reunification Day to our Vietnamese listeners and happy Labor Day to everyone else in the world who'll be working like us 9 to 5, way over retirement age or until we die.
Actually, it's a double banger of a weekend, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
For holidays, multiple holidays. It was also the Hung King's holiday as well, I think.
Is it?
Yeah. On, when was it? Last Friday or something like that.
Oh, I don't think so.
Or it's this week.
Is it?
Yeah, I think that it's like a triple banger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so pretty cool. Hey, so it's pretty much a week-long holiday here in Vietnam this week, which is cool. And we're sitting here in our living room recording this.
Well, it's really, if you have a local holiday, it's going to be so expensive going,
and
locally. And I heard that even if, you book a ticket to, say, Thailand or Cambodia, the ticket prices are also way up because everybody knows that it's a long holiday.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, this week was a big week with Netflix and the movie that came out.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that in the opener. Now, let's just say I was a Netflix producer, Mel, and I was going to give you the big break you've been looking for.
Okay.
The opportunity to break out in a role that would potentially elevate you from B-grade starlet to bona fide A-lister.
Ooh, like Meghan Markle. I'll be elevated to that status. Ooh.
What would be the title that would gain your signature and what would be the role? Let me help you a little bit. The movie title begins with A Tourist Guide to, and I need you to fill in the blank.
A tourist guide to living la vida local.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Not bad. I'm not really sure what it means yet.
Okay.
But in 50 words or less,
Okay.
what would be the plot then to A Tourist Guide to Living La Vida Local?
Well, I knew you were going to ask that, so I asked my new friend Google Bard. And it gave me this answer in less than 10 seconds.
Okay.
All right. Quote.
Hang on. Run. Do I need to run some sort of Hollywood music?
No, like maybe some tech music.
All right, here it is now.
Okay. A young woman named Maria is tired of her boring life. She dreams of adventure and excitement, but she's too afraid to take risks. One day, she meets a mysterious man who shows her what it means to live la vida loca. He takes her on a wild journey of love, laughter, and danger. Maria finally learns to live in the moment and embrace the crazy life.
Nice. Okay.
See, the thing is, I don't know why Google Bard gave the lead title character Maria. Is it because I'm Filipino, or is it because of the Latina thing of La Vida Loca?
Oh, yeah, that could be it.
Maybe, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that could be it.
All right.
But I think it may have just copied the script anyway of whatever else is out there. Okay, so interesting. What would be your dream role in that movie?
Okay, definitely not Maria. Because,
Okay.
I don't think I can get away with like goo goo gaga eyes at someone on screen. I would love to have one of those nosy neighbor comedic character roles. Like in the Philippines, I would be a Marites.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have to get into character for that.
I know.
It would require no acting skill on your behalf.
I believe in method acting.
What's a Marites, just for people who are not familiar?
So Marites is kind of like, it's not a Karen, contrary to what other people initially would think.
Yep.
So Marites is like what I describe, a nosy neighbor. So, yeah.
One who sort of pokes their head over the back fence or something like that.
Not only that, and spreads the word after.
Yep. Nice one. Hey, so I snuck off to Vung Tau last weekend.
Okay.
And
How was
a while
that?
since, well, I didn't really sneak off. You knew I was there. It had been a while since I'd been there.
Yeah. So What's the weather like? Any
Baking. It's baking as it is here in Saigon. It's super hot this time of year. The ocean's like bath water and the bitumen's melting and the lady drinks are burning holes through my pockets.
Well, better than being stuck in the tanfo cranking up the AC. Was it breezy with the beach air at least?
Yeah, there was a little bit of breeze here and there, but generally just super hot. Vung Tau gets very hot. Although, yeah, it gets the cooling breeze off the ocean, but, yeah, it depends where you are. Yeah. But, you know, change is afoot down there, I noticed. As I mentioned in a short video I posted in the Bureau Asia Facebook group while I was there, so check that out if you haven't seen it. The beachfront strip along Junfu Street, it goes up past the cable car and Gun Hao restaurant.
Yep.
It's coming alive with the development of small cafes and some restaurants and places to stay. It's really exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, I was surprised.
But not Bali levels right yet.
Yeah, well, that's what I titled the...
Clickbait.
Yeah, I kind of clickbaited it a bit, but I could imagine driving along there. I could imagine, you know, that it would be that sort of summery, beachy, you know, kind of holiday kind of place there. And it's developing that way.
You know, in Vung Tau, at least most foreigners, whether tourists or people actually living there, they wear their helmets riding their motorbikes.
Yeah, generally.
So people living in Vung Tau and in Vietnam in general still follow the rules more than the Bali.
Actually, going back to Bali, it was pretty funny. Someone made a comment on the video saying, what was the Bogan head count per kilometre? You know, you need a certain number for it to be Bali. So, I just replied and said I'd only seen one at that point, meaning me. Yeah, anyway, I predict really good things for Vung Tau, especially once the new airport gets completed. Who knows when? But boy, I just feel like Vung Tau is going to boom. It's already a lively little town. And of course, on weekends like this one, it's jammed with holiday makers. And there's also an open swimming event being held on Front Beach this weekend, which actually was yesterday. And then that follows last weekend's marathon.
Oh, wow. And let's not forget the nightly dancing at the parks.
Yeah.
Could be idea for a reality show. Vung Tau Ballroom.
Yeah. And apparently Vung Tau was a bit of a ballroom dancing mecca.
Wow.
I'm not too sure whether it was ballroom or, you know, obviously the French. It was a French holiday town, you know, summer sort of break down. Break it down. So back in those days, the French would go to Vung Tau and obviously dance. And then, of course, the war. So I'm assuming that, you know, certain types of dance came along. Yeah.
Taxi dancing.
Yeah. Anyway, I noticed that the waterfront block also on Front Beach owned by the Hilton.
Ooh.
It's got a couple of cranes on it now. So it looks like there might be finally some development on that site. Let's just hope nothing big and ugly goes in there.
Although I would love to see Paris Hilton open it.
Well, Mel, as I said in the intro, I was in a bit of a quandary this week as I pondered what to fill this segment up with.
Yeah, okay.
I thought it over a bit in between picking the skin off my nose from the sunburn I got in Vung Tau last week.
Yeah.
There was a fair bit of it. And funnily enough, I've decided to fill it up with some of the same old shit.
Same is comforting.
Anyway, I don't know about you, Mel, and even more so for our listeners, but I really like this newsy type segment because we can put our own little spin on things.
Hey, I mean, we are the Bureau, so fits right in.
Yeah, so as I was rummaging through the news stories this week, I noticed a pattern emerging. Listicles.
Ooh.
Maybe nothing new. So it seemed like a good idea to go with List Vietnam made it into this week as a kind of cover story, so to speak. What do you think?
Yeah, and A Tourist Guide to Love made it to number 10 on the Netflix list.
I thought you were going to say A Tourist Guide to Lists. So the first one up, Mel, is that Ho Chi Minh City has placed, wait for it, 6th in a list of cheapest destinations in the world.
Nice.
The list, published by a blog called Traveller's Elixir, stated that a 5-day stay in Ho Chi Minh City only costs $259 a person. The blogger clearly didn't set foot down Pasteur Street after 9 p.m.
Or had brunch in Tao Dien.
According to the article, the blog studied, in quotation marks, 60 of the world's most popular destinations for tight asses based on a 3-star stay, daily food, transportation costs, and entry tickets to tourist attractions.
Okay.
The top 10 list counting down from 10 is, let's roll some kind of sound
Music,
there.
yeah.
Number 10, Bangkok. Number 9, Luang Prabang. Number 8, Cairo. Number 7, Chiang Mai. Number 6, Ho Chi Minh City.
Yay!
Number 5, Medellin. Number 4, Tbilisi. Number 3, Kathmandu. Number 2, Phnom Penh. And number 1, Delhi.
Okay, I'll buy it. But some of the destinations don't look as safe as Ho Chi Minh City. So I wonder if they factored in the cost of travel insurance and personal security costs, or hospitalization bills. I mean, the major cities mentioned in Colombia. So that's, what was that? Medellin.
Yep.
Egypt, which is Cairo, and Georgia, which is Tbilisi.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
Nepal.
Yep.
So I haven't been to those places, but I'm wondering about the cost of also visas to go there.
Yeah, no idea. No idea, actually. Given that you've got a Filipino passport, probably a lot.
Terrible. Tell me about it.
Now, you know me, Mel. I like to dig around, burrow in, if you will, and check out the bona fides of the people who put out these lists.
Yeah.
And you might be interested to know that the person behind Traveller's Elixir is Meg.
Meghan Markle?
Oh, I didn't think of that when I was looking at this. No, but she's a 20-something English travel blogger who grew up wanting to be the Queen of England.
Meghan Markle?
No, I don't think she did grow up wanting to be the Queen of England.
She wanted to
She
grow
probably
up-
didn't even know who it was.
She wanted to grow up to be Princess Diana.
Oh, shit. Anyway, I went looking around the website for the article, but I couldn't even find it. So I went to her Instagram page and was shocked with what I saw.
She lives in Ho Chi Minh City.
No, actually, I don't think she's even been here, to be honest, but it's not that. I have 10 times more followers than her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I don't know what this says about her and or VN Express, for that matter, where this article popped up. But I have more followers than her.
Oh, wow.
How come I'm not in VN Express?
Because you're not
guess I'm
20-something and you're not Meg.
Anyway, I feel a video coming up. Matt does Ho Chi Minh City on $259.
Amazing.
Well, it seems like a week never goes past without the humble banh mi being added to some kind of list. Well, this week is no different. CNN has revealed its top 24 sandwiches in the world list for 2023.
Oh, wow.
Now, the criteria for the list is 1, being a famous sandwich that represents a country.
Okay.
2, having a delicious taste.
Obviously.
Yeah. And 3, being loved by locals.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
According to CNN's website, the banh mi is a culinary remnant of French colonialism. The baguette sandwich was reinterpreted to their own taste by the Vietnamese. Banh mi are now sold from food carts on nearly every street corner in Ho Chi Minh City and across Vietnam, and are widely loved well beyond the country's borders.
I agree.
Yeah, interesting choice of words though, Mel. A culinary remnant of French colonialism doesn't exactly make it sound so tasty.
Well, if you really want to be French about it, you should say ooh la la.
As you know, there are other, let me say, linguistic remnants of French colonialism, Mel, in the Vietnamese language.
Okay.
Here are some of the more common ones related to food. Try and guess them.
Okay. Are you
Now-
going to do the accent as well?
I'll try and
Okay.
look, pardon my French.
Okay.
But I won't be any good at it. Okay, here we go. Now, I'll do the Vietnamese pronunciation first, followed by the French.
All right.
Then you've got to get the
I'm gonna
the
guess.
Chinese. No, the English. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Ba.
Beef.
No, you got to hear my French.
Okay.
Brr. I don't know. I'm sorry, French listeners.
Buttered beef.
Butter.
Okay.
Sorry, my pronunciation of "b" mightn't be too good.
Okay.
The Vietnamese pronunciation of beef is a downward tone, so it's
Bo.
"b."
Bo.
Bo. Yeah. Okay, next one. Cafe. Cafe.
Easy. Coffee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Pate.
Pat.
Pate. Yeah.
Pate.
Okay. This segment's going really well. Fromage. Fromage.
Mushrooms.
No, cheese. Chocolat.
Chocolate.
Okay, yes. Salad.
Salad.
Yes. Canteen.
Oh. Canteen.
Yes, canteen. It's used a little bit. You do see it around a little bit at places like train stations and perhaps near bus stations.
You're making me hungry now.
Yeah, so it got me wondering if bun, as in banh mi, is a borrowed word. I haven't even bothered to look it up. Perhaps it's from Portuguese. I don't know. Because the word for bread in Portuguese is pan.
Yeah, pan de sal.
Yeah, and you use pan de sal in Filipino, which is from Spanish, right? And the Japanese use pan for bread as well.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because the Portuguese, believe it or not, brought bread to Japan. Yeah, and tempura, by the way. Now, this article says that there's a banh mi stand on just about every corner in Ho
Wait a
Chi Minh
minute.
City.
Maybe bun means flour in French. No?
Oh, good point. Yeah,
Google.
I don't know.
Let me ask
Yeah, that
Google
could be
Bard.
that could be it.
No, it doesn't say.
Maybe it's just baguette.
Yeah.
Now, as I was saying, this article says that there's a banh mi stand on just about every corner in Ho Chi Minh City. There isn't really. I think that's one of the major misconceptions about banh mi in Saigon, that like rats here, you're never too far from one. Now, do you have a favourite banh mi, Mel?
Yeah. It's the banh mi next to Nguyen Chai. What's that called again? It's really famous.
Quin Hoa?
Yeah, that's it.
The lesbian banh mi?
Yeah, we're not supposed to use that word anymore.
Aren't we?
Well, I mean to market this place. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Huyen Hoa gets all the publicity, but Banh Mi Ba Huyen on Win Chai Street, sort of further down near the Congwin roundabout, is basically identical. It's worth checking out. Similar price, massive, packed.
Yeah.
Packed with all the good ingredients, all the good stuff in the banh mi that you want. It's really worth checking out. But, the best banh mi is the one in your hand, Mel.
Or in your mouth already.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, it's Reunification Day weekend, Mel, and VN Express this week published a list of 7 rooftop hotels in Ho Chi Minh City to enjoy the holiday fireworks. Apparently, we still have them.
I thought the fireworks was only for Tet.
Yeah, no, they have them. At Reunification Weekend. Now, the thing about this list, Mel, is that a night stay at the hotels featured in the list will burn a hole in your skyrocket. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, of course.
What is it?
It's behind you.
No, your skyrocket is your pocket.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Anyway, heading up their list is Vinpearl Luxury Landmark 81, inside Vietnam's tallest building at almost 500 metres tall and the 17th tallest in the world. A suite will set you back between $200 to $450 a night.
That's not even the luxury suite. That's just a normal room, right?
I don't know. I moved on from there. Other hotels listed are the Reverie on Win Hui Street at $6.5 million per night, or about $280.
Okay.
The Majestic on Dom Khoi Street, one of the oldest in the city, at $2.6 million per night, or a reasonable $110 a night. I think it's pretty reasonable.
I'll go there. Yeah.
Given its historical significance.
And you can ride a really old elevator to the restaurant.
So you can really get your money's worth.
Yeah.
And the rooftop bar is really cool. It's a great view of the city. The next one was Le Méridien on Tonduk Tang Street, basically on the same street there as the Majestic.
And there's a view of the new bridge there as well?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's got a rooftop lounge on the 22nd floor. And a night here will set you back a cool 5.4 million or 230 bucks. I didn't think it was that expensive, the Meridian. Hotel de Arts M Gallery on Wintimin Kai Street in District 3 is the next one.
Okay,
with a great space on the 23rd floor to watch the fireworks at 4.3 million or 185 for the night. Not too bad compared to Le Méridien. There's also a pool there, so if you get sick of the fireworks, you can also glare into the pool there.
Plus, there's it's a really cool bar, but you're also gonna get in walk-ins and non-guests going in there, so that might be a concern.
Then rounding out the list. The Sheraton on Dom Koi Street. It also has a bar on the 23rd floor. It was quite notorious. It's
Does it have a view?
I don't know. I haven't been up there for a long time. I don't think so. Although there is an outdoor sort of area.
To smoke, but not like
it's not like these places.
No.
A night there will cost you 4.2 mil or a lazy 180 bucks.
My gosh.
And last one on the list, Liberty Central Saigon Riverside back on Tonduk Tang Street, which has a rooftop swimming pool from which to watch the crackers go off from 2.5 mil or 106 per night. Fairly reasonable.
I don't think these hotels are in the travelers' elixir list.
No, I don't think they'll be on hers. Yeah, they're at the other end of the scale. Are there any others you'd recommend, Mel?
Annan Restaurant has a rooftop as well.
But hotels.
Oh. Well, Peter lives there, right?
Yeah, I don't think you want to visit that suite. Hi to Peter.
I love you, Chef. See you this Friday. We're going to eat there.
So it seems like an episode doesn't go past and we don't mention him.
The rooftop in Sky Garden.
Oh, yeah, you're not supposed to tell anyone about that. You're not allowed to go up there. I do sneak up there for a beer every now and then.
There's a secret stairwell.
Yeah. There are a couple of love hotels I'd recommend. I'll leave those locations in the episode description.
Yeah, lots of fireworks going on there
and
too.
Plenty of views. Yeah. Well, this one's enough to make sure your passwords are strong and you've activated your two-factor identification protocols, Mel. It was reported this week that Vietnam suffered from the third highest incidence of cyber attacks in Southeast Asia last year. At a cybersecurity event last week here in Ho Chi Minh City, the executive of a Russian firm said threats include
experts from
online
Russia
scams and cryptocurrency thefts.
Oh my.
It was reported that there are almost 210,000 cyber attacks in Southeast Asia, of which 15,500 were in Vietnam.
And the people behind the telemarketing are Filipinos who were trafficked.
Is that right?
Oh, I'm assuming.
Vietnam appears to be particularly more prone to crypto scams, as it's here that people put the biggest share of their money into cryptocurrency, according to the 2021 Global Crypto Adoption Index, released in September last year. Also in 2022, Vietnamese people lost 21.2 trillion Vietnamese dong. That's 900 million US, I think, due to malware that leads to people being held to ransom.
You know what's not being talked about, though, in relation to this?
What?
Are the hundreds of people victimized by human trafficking to work in Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar to be the telemarketers for this cryptocurrency,
and online gambling and casinos and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a massive issue. Good point you raised that. We did a great episode last episode So if you haven't listened to that, make sure you do check it out after this one. Okay, we're a little late on this because by the time I get this thing edited, Reunification Day will be well behind us. But VN Express actually published a useful listicle in the lead up to the holiday weekend, listing some of Ho Chi Minh City's more interesting historic sites.
Well, it's actually better to visit those places after the holiday because there will be no lines and, you know, it'll be more relaxing to visit.
Yep, these ones are mostly related to the war. The sites are called red addresses.
Oh, wow.
They include secret bases, old admin buildings and tunnels that can be explored.
Oh, wow.
These sites include the Saigon Special Forces weapons bunker beneath a cafe down an alley off Windin Tew Street in District 3. As is common, these places all have interesting little backstories. In 1966, a man by the name of Chan Van Lai, aka Nam Lai, who was a member of the Saigon Special Forces guerrilla group, part of the Southern Liberation Task Force, bought a house to store weapons for attacks on the Independence Palace, which at the time was the HQ of the South Vietnam government during the 1968 Tet Offensive. Van Lai pretended to renovate the house to avoid suspicion and moved his wife and children to Go Vap district and stayed at the site to continue digging the bunker, which started out being 2 metres long, 1.2 metres wide and 2.5 metres high with 4 exits, but eventually being big enough to store more than 2 tons of weapons.
Wow, I've never heard of that before.
It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
There's some great stories like this.
So you enter through the cafe?
Yeah, there's a cafe next to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't actually been down in the bunker. I've been to the site twice, which I'll talk about in a moment. So yeah, I went looking for it a couple of years ago, and it was around the COVID time. So I was kind of shooed away at that point because everyone was on edge about COVID. And I think it was in between the 2 lockdowns. You know, we had the initial one and then we had that 4-month lockdown. So, you know, people, the locals, the neighbourhood there, they were pretty tense, and foreigners, you know, they weren't really that popular being in areas like that at that particular time. So, yeah, I kind of got shooed away by whoever was there, whoever the
owner.
I don't know if it was the owner or just someone hanging around or whatever. So I drove off down the alleyway and I decided to go and visit somewhere else. And actually down the street a little bit is Ban Co Market. And it's a really cool market that actually people don't talk about a lot. But everyone's really friendly there. There's a little bit of food there, but it's also a lot of clothing and shoes. There's a lot of shoe places there. It's a really interesting little place. I should get there more often. Anyway, the next week, the alley where the bunker was, it got shut down because there was a COVID case. And then not long after that, we had the 4-month lockdown. So I was lucky. Otherwise, I might have ended up in
the bunker.
In the bunker and locked away.
In the bunker during COVID. Wow.
Other places on the list include probably the coolest pho joint in all of Saigon, Pho Bin, which was a front for the headquarters of Division 6 leading up to and during the Tet Offensive. It became a place where guerrillas could communicate safely in plain sight.
You went there.
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times. The owner ran the pho joint while the guerrillas were employed as employees. That's guerrillas as in armed fighters. Yes. Meanwhile, the back rooms were used for secret meetings. And you can still visit upstairs and there's a museum dedicated to it.
Yeah.
And there's furniture in there and there's photos of all the, all the guys that used to go there. So
I haven't
really
been there. I'd love to go there.
Yeah, and the pho's pretty good too. Yeah. And same owners. They're still there. They're still there. There's
family.
brothers. Yep, still there.
3 generations.
Yeah, they're really friendly, really nice.
Great.
Yeah, it's a super interesting place and it's a good way to start your day. Another one is the Saigon Special Forces secret mailbox and bunker, also in District 1, not too far from Tundon Market.
Ooh.
This place was and still is today a Gum Tam eatery that was once a secret communications station of the Saigon Special Force, where the owners stored and transferred secret letters and documents to and from war zones outside the city.
Do you think they slipped it in the com tom or something?
They might have written messages in the rice.
It's like, here's your bill.
Maybe.
Din din.
Yeah,
and then the message is there.
Yeah, possibly. Turns out it was not only a popular spot for locals, but also for many South Korean soldiers who, of course, supported the US and South Vietnam during the war. The South Korean soldiers lived across the street, and this eatery even served kimchi to cater for them.
Wow.
And the best thing is, you can still go there to eat broken rice and kimchi and learn about the eatery's history.
Oh, so many cool things to see.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I've never been to that one, so I'm going to go and check that out.
Yeah.
We might be able to take your nephew
My nephew,
there.
yeah.
And pretty much around the corner is the Saigon Yadin Special Force Intelligence Museum. It's located in an old house and was another secret base of the Saigon Special Force, and was also run by the same gentleman who owned the bunker in the alley off Windin Chu Street in District 3.
Do you think he was burying a tunnel from that location?
You never know.
To this one?
Yeah.
How far would that be?
Yeah, it'd be a little way, yeah. These days it's a museum over 100 square metres displaying artefacts and furniture as they were during the war. So I haven't been to this place either, and apparently it still looks the same.
Wouldn't it be so cool if those two places were connected with the tunnel underground?
Yeah, there's a good chance it was. Yeah. Pretty interesting, hey?
Riley does not get put on hold.
You need to get out of town. We are sending you to Vietnam.
I choose adventure. I'm taking chances.
I'm Sid, your new tour guide.
Dance in the open sky.
What brings you to Vietnam?
My time, my time.
I want to find out. New me. I want experience.
Put that guidebook away.
Why?
It's for tourists.
I'm a tourist.
No, you're a traveler. A tourist wants to escape life. A traveler wants to experience it.
Fill me in. Is it yummy?
And that was a grab from Netflix's, Mel? Do we call it Netflix's?
Netflix.
Release of A Tourist's Guide to Love, which was filmed here in Vietnam, I think in April last year, was released this week. And as we promised to our listeners, Mel at least would do a review. I think I come in at some point. So Mel, would you like to take it away? Set the scene.
Well, so first of all, let's talk about the cast. So it stars a
Shouldn't take too long.
relatively fresh actor named Scott Lee as Sin.
Yep. I'm going to test you here. What else has he been in?
That's why I said relatively fresh actor. Okay. Rachel Lee Cook as Amanda. Ben Feldman as John, Amanda's ex-boyfriend, who, by the way, looks like Scott Baio.
Yeah, he reminded me a little bit of Scott Baio. I think, was Scott Baio in Happy
Charles
Days?
and Charles.
But even before that, was he in Happy Days?
I think so.
And then he had his own
Charles
show.
in Charge, yeah.
And he turned out to be a bit of a bad guy, didn't he?
He was.
Private, in his personal life. Yeah. Yeah, he's a bit of a cross between him and the guy from Northern Exposure. We're going back to the 90s now.
No,
Anyway.
Scott Baio was 70s, 80s.
Yeah, I know, but another guy. He's a bit of a... maybe Scott Baio got around a little bit. Yeah. Anyway.
And then there's this character named Mona, who's played by Missy Pyle, and two Vietnamese female actors, Quinn Chup Chan as An. She was the foil to Sin's character, the cousin with pink hair, the favorite granddaughter.
It was kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, she was really
quite
good.
liked her.
And she had an Aussie accent as well.
Yeah. And she seemed believable. I know we're going to talk a little bit about perhaps the characters and what happened in the movie, but She came across as pretty genuine.
Yeah, I
Because you
really
do
liked her. She was
actually
so
meet
natural.
Young
Yep.
Vietnamese who are like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And last but not least, the lady that played the grandmother, Ba Noi,
Yep.
is Miss Nuts Le Tien. Is that how you pronounce her name?
I don't know. I think you spelt it wrong there, I think. I'm not sure what her name is, to be honest. Anyway, she's good.
Yep.
She's good. She may nearly get the vote for our
Best
favourite.
performance. Yeah.
She was fun and
Natural.
again quite believable because the grandmas and the aunties can be very playful and fun.
All right. So I thought to do this review, we would talk about the top 3 things for people who live in Vietnam like us will notice that in the movie, it was kind of incorrect, romanticized, or
Yep.
unlikely to happen
Okay. All right.
outside of that movie.
So just 3 things? Yeah. All right.
Well, we can do follow-ups for sure, but yeah, let's start with 3.
All right. Give us the first one.
Okay. Number 1, for me, I thought that there was an unrealistic assessment of the Saigon Silver Star tour group. So the Saigon Silver Star tour group is the tour group that Sin managed for Anne's father. And spoiler alert, Amanda and Mona decide to buy it. So for me, really, you want to buy that tour group? So I thought that, number 1, aside from not having a bottle of cold water when they welcome guests at the airport, a tour of District 5 in Cholon riding a Ciclo is good. But then Sin didn't even point or mention, hey, look there in the background.
Yeah, well, he was...
Yeah, that's the Tien Hao Temple.
He was distracted. He
Exactly.
was
So
pointing
why
other
would
things out. Yeah.
Exactly. So why would you buy a company
Yeah, I
when
noticed that,
when
yeah.
tour guides like that can't
Yeah.
even point out simple, cultural and historical
Yep.
sites?
Yeah. Well, I think maybe it was just a nice backdrop for whatever they were talking about. I can't remember what
guess.
they were talking about at
Maybe.
the time. I think he was just sort of gazing into her eyes and...
And she was reading a Lonely Planet book.
Oh,
or
yeah. I mean, I need to put that on my list.
Okay.
Like, seriously, who carries a Lonely Planet guide around these days?
True.
And they do have a website, apparently, as well. Like, who goes to the website? But she was carrying
I know.
a Lonely Planet guide around. I did that 25 years ago when I was
Me
backpacking
too.
because that's all we really had.
Yeah.
And it was a photocopied one.
And remember when we went to India and this lady that we were traveling with was like, give me your Lonely Planet book. And it's like, sorry, sister, buy your own.
Gee, times have changed.
I know.
Okay, number 2.
Look, I'm still going on about Sin, He was really creepy. It's like he
What was creepy about it?
he was creepy because he was giving
Wasn't he handsome? Because she said that he was handsome.
not my type,
Yeah, okay.
i.e. I'm not white.
Okay.
Okay. So, look, I just felt that Sin was he was giving me some creepy vibes. He was giving Amanda too much attention, the exclusive off the beaten track destinations and even private tours just for her, and the other guests were not even included.
Yeah.
So I felt there was like some sort of favoritism.
Especially in Hoi An. Remember the other guests went off to
To
bed
get ready,
or to dinner
to
or
get
whatever.
ready.
And then she got a special...
The lantern on the river. That was the most special thing that you could do in Hoi An,
Which is funny. I remember watching that and I turned to you and I said, I had friends who did that recently and they lit a lantern and it sank straight to the bottom of the river.
And they were on their honeymoon, weren't they?
They were actually on their honeymoon. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think that, those kinds of tour guides exist. And he was really a bit stalkerish already. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, at least he wasn't looking over the bathroom door.
No.
So number 3.
Okay, last one for me is that the dancing scene during Tet.
Yeah.
It's like during the family gathering,
Yep.
it's not a club, Tet, gatherings, family, drunk uncles, mothai bayo equals karaoke.
Okay. Yeah, it was
So-
a bit techno, a bit Vina House.
It was a bit.
Which Yeah, which reminds me, the music. I quite like the music in it.
Oh, there was a
Throughout.
1970s music,
Yeah,
wasn't
there was
there?
the music from.
You did the podcast
I did
on
a
that.
podcast on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Vung Tau. There was a song from Vung Tau, I think it was. Yeah.
So the background music in the other scenes were really cool. They also included some Vina House, but really
Suboi, she
Suboi,
featured.
of course, yeah.
Yeah, I thought the music choices were good.
But I thought that karaoke would have been a better fit.
Yeah, it made sense, but it probably would have turned people off, I reckon.
No, but come
Because
on.
the music that they chose for this dance, it was
Okay.
upbeat. It was kind
bit
of fun.
culturally,
Yeah, they were in their aoyais
Okay.
and it was kind of cool. And I guess it probably would appeal more to a younger demographic watching the movie.
Anyway, so we're still talking about the top 3 things people who live in Vietnam will notice was incorrect, romanticized, or unlikely to happen outside of the movies. Your turn, Matt.
Yeah, well, I think number 1 for me, unlikely to happen, is a white woman falling for a Vietnamese man.
Huh?
I don't think it's that common.
But you don't deny that it can.
It happens, but it's pretty rare. It's
Okay.
pretty rare. And this happened pretty quickly as well. I know she was on the rebound.
yes, she
Yes,
was.
She was on the rebound.
So context is important.
But by the end of the movie, it seemed like that she was going to either put her life on hold
Mm-hmm.
back in the States or relocate to Vietnam and be the rep and
Okay.
work for Sin in the travel agency.
But
I just don't see
technically-
that happening.
Technically, Sin is not a local Vietnamese.
Ah, good point.
Sin is a Viet Q. So maybe at the back of her mind, she was thinking, okay, this could work and we can move back to the States.
Yeah. Well, these are all the sorts of things that happen here. So,
Or
Typically-
he's not just going to use me for my green card.
well, it could be that, yeah.
Yeah.
But typically what happens here is, or what has happened in the past, things are changing a bit. Older white men, for want of a better word, shacking up with younger Vietnamese women. And that's still, if you go to a party or if you go to an event, 9 out of 10 couples will be
Mixed.
white man, Vietnamese woman, and probably younger.
Okay, I get your point.
It's more likely to happen. But yeah, it's an interesting sort of phenomenon because often white guys come here to sort of get away from what's happening in their home country.
Or to retire.
to retire or to get dental treatment done. And then what happens is they will, find themselves married or remarried again and having children, perhaps even having a second round of children.
Yeah.
And then in 5 years' time when the children need to be educated, they would prefer to take them back to their home country. So
It's a long game, for Vietnamese
and
women.
they sort of wind up going full circle and end up back in their home country. But the white woman Vietnamese man thing, okay.
Although, to be fair to the movie, the ending was left open.
Dangling.
Dangling.
Yes. Number 2, I was struck by how little food featured in the movie.
Yeah.
Life here is all about food and eating it with friends and family. And I can only remember a couple of instances in the movie. Yeah. Ted?
So they were cooking the food, preparing the food, and eating the food. And then towards the end, when they were like relaxing in Hanoi,
Yeah, I think
before
they were on Beer Street or something, weren't they?
Yeah, there were skewers and they were motai bayoing.
Yeah.
This was before the big reveal.
Yeah.
But other than that, at the hotel when the guests first got to know each other.
Yeah.
So maybe about 3.
But it didn't really feature it, did it? It wasn't highlighted at all, which was interesting. I thought maybe there would have been a scene where Sin, took her down a back alley, so to speak, and introduced her to food, and there might have been this sort of sexual kind of
Well, it
tension
depends.
going on with food. And
I mean, who sponsored this movie? Was it the Department of Tourism or
Well,
is it the National Food Authority or something like that?
well, that's it. Yeah, the credits rolled pretty quickly, didn't they? They cut the credits off on Netflix, and that's what a lot of people were asking online, actually, once it was released. They were like, did the Vietnam Tourism Board pay for this? Ooh. I'll tell you what, though, if they did,
amazing.
Great move.
Yeah.
Great move. It
5
looked
stars.
amazing. Yeah. And the third one, before we wrap up this little segment, the Hoi An scenes only perpetuated that sort of magical place kind of town.
Go get an ao
it's the
dai.
best place in Vietnam to visit.
Go get a dress made.
Yeah, well,
fall in love.
Our regular listeners will know that we're not huge fans of Hoi An.
Oh my gosh, when the frontage of Yali came on, and I both like, no.
I've had things made there before, and they didn't quite fit, put it that way.
Yeah, okay. So, how about we move to scenes that surprised you to say, hey, this is not such a bad movie.
Okay.
All
right, you're up.
All right. Well, look, I actually enjoy romantic comedies with women in midlife crisis themes. Right?
I wake up to that every day.
So I was quite excited to watch this. I haven't really seen Rachel Cook's acting work since the 90s with She's All That and Josie and the Pussycats.
Is she that old? Because she looks young. She's looks
42.
great. She was a kid then.
Yeah,
okay.
She's 42.
All right.
So I was surprised at how natural she seemed.
Yep.
And aside from that durian tasting scene in Benton Market, I thought she was not overacting. She was cute, believable, relatable. And props for her for also being the executive producer in this movie. So I was surprised to see that in the end credits. I didn't really do a lot of research before watching the movie so I could enjoy it. And it's not such a bad movie.
Yeah, she was fine. She wasn't annoying.
No.
She's good looking. She's good looking, easy on the eye. And yet clearly,
she's tiny. She was wearing these platform shoes, wasn't she?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Clearly, the script wasn't any sort of Oscar award-winning screenplay.
Okay.
But she held it together pretty well, didn't she? And Sin did too, the actor who played Sin. I think he did it okay as well, so.
But I think though, Sin's look, sorry, am I adding more stuff to the first question? But he had like this longish hair and he was wearing beads. It's like Keanu Reeves looks different now.
Yeah,
Keanu Reeves in the 90s probably looked cool like that. Yeah. But if that was like the romantic reference,
if the movie had gone to Monet or Phu Quoc, he would have fit in. I could imagine him being the dude in the surf shack and the surfboards, Yeah. For me, I thought the first 15 minutes set the tone. I thought they nailed the ditzy, superficial travel agents.
Okay.
I've come across a few of those in my time, and I thought that was believable. So from the very beginning, I was like, okay, this, they're like that. So, it just told me that this movie wasn't going to take itself too seriously.
Yeah, of
I think it was sort of. So then you would adjust your expectations as you go, and there were some good one-liners in it that actually made me laugh out loud a few times, which was good. And the cinematography was
the drone
just
shots,
made it really
man.
good to look at. And it was one of those movies because of that. You could watch it even with the volume turned down.
Yeah.
You just have it playing in the background.
Okay. All right. And to wrap this up, how about best performance and the movie's overall bureau rating out of 5?
I'll throw a drum roll in here too. It seems like
Okay.
a good opportunity. There it goes.
So for me, I thought that the grandma, Banoy, was a cracker. She was the best. Like supporting actress, supporting performer role. I really liked her, entertaining. And there was some facial expressions in her face, which was like almost crying. You know, in some lines, I just thought that
It
she
could have gone
really
either
good.
way with her because often,
Stereotyped,
and Vietnamese comedy is a lot of slapstick.
physical,
And no real sort of, or it's straight to a punchline.
Yes,
whatever
yes.
slapstick sort of is. And I felt like, here we go. It could go that way, but I think she did a really good job.
Yeah. How about you?
I've got to say, I wasn't expecting much from this movie, and but the people who were disappointed with it online.
Oh yeah,
I think
I saw a few.
There's
my
a fair
friends,
bit of chatter about it.
Yeah.
I think they had the wrong expectations. After all, as you said, it's a rom-com starring little-known actors, little-known writers, directors, and produced by little-known others as well.
Except Netflix is big.
Yeah, true. But what can you expect? People need to manage their expectations when they sit down to watch it. I think it was really well filmed. We weren't rammed with cultural lessons.
Except for the tip part, though.
Yeah, but I
Cleaning
thought-
the house, cooking, and the first person that greets you in the morning.
I thought that was kind of nice, though. I thought it was
Okay.
kind of sweet, But throughout the whole movie, I don't think we were rammed with this is what we do in Vietnam. So it was
Okay.
good. It did peter out at the end, this movie, and perhaps it could have ended earlier. But it's one of those movies that means you can get up and fix yourself another couple of tacos. We had tacos and get a drink and come back and not have missed much.
Yeah.
So I'd give it 3 out of 5 banh mi's.
Me too. I was
Yeah.
going to do that at the end, but same
I'd
here.
describe the movie like an average banh mi that's been put together with lesser quality ingredients in haste. It starts out fine because it satisfies the hunger pangs for a minute, but then gets soggy towards the end, making it hard to finish.
But there's a lot of spice.
Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like, share and comment, and feel free to ask any questions related to Vietnam and the region on the Bureau Asia's social media channels at the Bureau Asia, and I'll do my best to answer them. Mel, as usual, thanks for joining me again. How's your week looking ahead?
It's looking amazing. I'm still on holiday mode.
Okay, nice. Yep. So that's it for this episode. Don't forget to send in your comments and questions before our next episode so we can comment and answer back. Until then, take care and stay safe. This is Matt Cowan.
And Melanie Kasul, enjoy your week wherever you are.